following account is based on a true and tragic event. Some material may be deeply upsetting and graphic. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. It was a quiet September evening in St. Joseph, Missouri. The sun had long set. The neighborhood on South 14th Street lay under a blanket of silence. But behind one particular set of walls, a nightmare was unfolding. A nightmare that would shake an entire community to its core, leaving neighbors horrified, friends speechless, and a little girl's life cut short in the most unthinkable way. To those who knew him from the outside, Dustin Beechner was more than just another man in town. He was a father, and his daughter, 6-year-old Joslyn, was his world. There were videos shared on social media showing him holding her, laughing with her, cherishing the small moments. In those clips, it's almost impossible to imagine the darkness that would eventually consume him. To Dustin, she was everything, and for Joslyn, her dad was her hero. Until the night that shattered everything. September 2021 began like any other month for the Beechner household, but something was different about Dustin. Witnesses and later investigators described him as increasingly erratic, behaving strangely, muttering about things that didn't make sense. It wasn't drugs, according to reports. It was something far more sinister, at least in his own mind.
What's up, Facebook? Haha, kicking it, you see with my daughter, you dig? Hey, I just want to say hey out there. Why not? Love y'all. Even my haters. I need y'all. Need you. Stay tuned in, huh?
That night, Dustin claimed he saw demons. Not in the shadows, not in his dreams, but in his mind, on top of his own daughter. According to some accounts, he believed these demons were hurting his little girl. In a twisted attempt to save her, he grabbed a baseball bat. But instead of striking demons, he was striking Joslyn. Blow after blow, the man who had once been her protector became her killer. And then, as if that horrific act wasn't enough, Dustin carried her small, lifeless body up to the roof of their home. He covered her with a blanket, and some believe it was so that she could be closer to God. When police arrived, Dustin led them straight to her. They climbed to the roof where under that blanket lay a little girl who once had been the center of his world. The scene left even seasoned officers shaken. For many, it was an image they would never forget. Word of this tragedy spread through St. Joseph like wildfire. Parents clutched their children a little tighter that night. Neighbors looked at each other in disbelief, and the sense of safety that once defined this quiet neighborhood was gone. But the strongest reaction wasn't in the streets, it was online. On Facebook, emotions boiled over. Friends, neighbors, and strangers alike unleashed their fury on Dustin Beechner. Words like monster, coward, and evil flooded comment sections. Some say they hoped he would rot in hell. Others wished for him to suffer the same fate he had inflicted. These weren't just angry rants, they were the raw, unfiltered screams of a community betrayed by someone they thought they knew. In the days that followed, more disturbing details emerged. Investigators uncovered multiple videos Dustin had taken, some showing sweet, normal moments with Joslyn, others far more unsettling. In several clips, Dustin appeared alone, behaving erratically, talking to the camera in ways that hinted at deep instability. These weren't just odd ramblings. To many, these were a glimpse into the mind of a man that's on edge. And while the murder shocked St. Joseph, it wasn't Dustin Beechner's first run-in with the law. His criminal history stretched back over a decade, revealing a pattern of violence, intoxication, and instability. In 2007, in nearby DeKalb County, Dustin was charged with assaulting an ex-girlfriend during a dispute. She told authorities he was intoxicated and became violent after she took his keys. She had visible injuries, scratches, and bruises, and Dustin eventually pled guilty. He was sentenced to probation but later served a year in jail after violating that same probation. That violation, a 2008 DWI in Andrew County. He fled from law enforcement after being found in someone else's truck, leading to a crash that injured him. Again, he was intoxicated. By 2010, his violence escalated. In Buchanan County, he pled guilty to second-degree domestic assault after shooting his own cousin in the abdomen. And in 2019, he faced yet another assault charge, this time for attacking a former girlfriend, all while on parole. In 2016, an incident of resisting arrest turned chaotic. Officers had to physically carry him to a patrol car. He banged his head against the hood, kicked an investigator, and was tased twice before he could be restrained. He was intoxicated then too. When Dustin finally appeared in court for the murder of Joslyn, the courtroom was tense. Prosecutors recounted his violent history in painstaking detail. The judge asked about his work, his family, and when asked if he had any surviving children, Dustin paused before quietly answering, "No." The man who had once been a father now stood alone, accused of the worst crime imaginable. Before his case could go to trial, Dustin Beechner was found dead in his jail cell. Authorities ruled it a suicide. For some, it was an unsatisfying end. They wanted justice in court. For others, it was the only closure they would ever get. The death of Jozlyn Beechner wasn't just another headline. It was a wound to an entire community, one that still hasn't healed. It's a story of a father's love twisted by delusion, a small town blindsided by violence, and a little girl whose life ended far too soon. And it's a reminder that sometimes the greatest dangers are the ones closest to home. If you found this video interesting, please consider subscribing, drop a like, and please comment down below what the most disturbing part about this story was. Again, thank you for watching. See ya.